Hello, welcome, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fighter Jet Roundtable Season 3, Bonus Round 3, Space-Battleship Showdown! Yeah, it's been a long month of waiting and testing and changing things and doing all kinds of stuff. Basically, it's been my own personal hell. But you know what? We're here, and now we are going to be doing the best we can to bring you some space flying around and weapons and shenanigans. So, let's go ahead and get on down to business and see what I have in store for all of you today. So here we are at the Special Moon Base. Now, nobody has, only a few people have actually seen what the heck this is. But, have you ever noticed that Jeb, Bill, Bob, and Val never appear in any of the other things? Well, that's because they're here in the long-term isolation experiment here on the Mun. Or the Moon. Either way, or Moon, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it Mun, I guess. So, we again have Jeb, Bill, Bob, and Val. And they sit here in this little experiment testing to see long-term isolation experiments and all that other stuff. Make sure they don't go crazy. And up there is Kerbin and the sun, Kerbal. So, this happens to be the perfect area upon which to set the stage for our craft. Yes, quite entertaining indeed. So, what are the rules? Well, as far as competition is concerned, due to the innate nature of scuffiness that comes with BDA space combat, each one of these rounds will be best of one. Except maybe the final one. We'll see how I'm feeling. Either way, our contestants have built a bunch of spacecraft, according to, well, my whims, and they will be trying to fight each other high above the surface of the moon here. So, let's go ahead and introduce those, which means we have to go to the spaceplane hangar. So here we are in the spaceplane hangar, or a slightly different version of the spaceplane hangar. If I push this button right here, well, it comes back to the normal spaceplane hangar you're all used to seeing. However, you'll notice this craft in particular is quite large. So we have the Hangar Extender mod, which basically just allows us to zoom out and build much larger craft. Yes. So this is the Abaddon, sent in by Android Elite. It's actually based off of one of my designs. Mine, yes. I basically made this, and then Android said, hey, I have a funny idea. Can I have this? I'm like, sure. And then he sent this in a few hours later. So, yeah, pretty interesting looking spacecraft here. Originally designed to be landing on the water and taking off from the water, it is now heading into space with these fun-looking weapons to blow the crap out of whatever it is coming against. It's even got his nation's flag there. Very cool. We've got Abrams turrets, Millennium cannons, a lot of RCS blocks with the Pack-Lead designation. If you know what that is, congratulations. We also have Goalkeeper Sea-Whiz turrets. And, well, down here we have laser anti-missile systems as well as tactical laser turrets for extra boom. So, this is honestly one of the favored craft to win, not just because I made it and it looks awesome, but because it's one of the very few craft that functions quite well in space, actually. So, this is the favored craft. Either that, let's move on to the next one. So the next craft that we have here is the Arkbird, sent in by Corlev Cross. It's basically a space plane. I don't know what else to say about that. It has pulse laser turrets down there. I know you can't actually see them because of the decals, but that is a pulse laser turret. It has another pulse laser turret on top. It has a laser turret there, another pulse laser turret there. Very cool looking design, actually. It's very stark white because the aircraft that it's based off of was very white. Looks pretty cool. Doesn't behave particularly well in space, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? That being said, very nice looking, fairly nicely shaped design. Doesn't have a lot of DACA, so we are crossing our fingers and hoping that it will do, well, fairly well. So, moving on to the next one. So the next one we have here is the Iron Bible Whale King. Look at this thing. It's just so cool. Easily one of the most unique designs that we have sent in here. Lots of firepower here, including the, well, railgun turrets, which are pretty cool. Not a lot of people are actually using those, surprisingly enough. Big, chunky thing. Not sure how well it's going to fly, but, you know, definitely gets all the points in the appearance category. This is sent in by Spectrum. It's even got some guns there in the nose and all the different RCS blocks and TLS on the ends of the flippers here. A really cool design, actually. It'll be very interesting to see how well it fares against everything else. Very, very cool. And of course, it's got, you can see just how big it is. It's got these tiny little anti-missile systems just kind of sprinkled around in different points. Very interesting indeed. So, on to our next one. So, this next one here is the JS1B Langan, sent in by Dion. Dion has basically actually built a spaceship, as you can see. No pun intended, it is literally a ship, but it is a, yes. Anyway, actually, pun intended. Screw you. So yes, we have the Abrams cannons here, Gold Keeper Sea-Wiz turrets, more railgun turrets, which are interesting. Almost nobody was using those, which is surprising. Looks like a big, mean thing with all of these HEKV missiles on a very outward position there. Should be very interesting to see how this thing performs. Big, chunky, and even, like, the windows are photovoltaic panels, you know, so that's pretty cool. Like, so, yeah, not sure how stable it's gonna be, but, you know, hey, I guess we'll find out. That being said, let's move on to the next one. And here we are. This is the Sajuk class Corvette, sent in by Suicidal Insanity. The man, the myth, the legend, one of the main VDA extended devs. In fact, if we didn't have him, we wouldn't have a lot of really cool things that we've been working on, like cluster missiles and all that other stuff. And actually, these point defense machine guns probably wouldn't exist either. So, yeah, thank you, Suicidal Insanity. That being said, I'm told this is basically a homage or reference to, well, Homeworld, the old, like, space RTS style game. One of the smallest, if not the smallest craft that we actually have submitted for this round. Very cool looking, honestly, all things considered. The yellow paint job, I'm assuming, is Homeworld-esque. It's got these bays for the HEKVs, which they get stuck on all the time, but, you know, hey, they look really cool. Yeah, honestly, yep, I don't know what else to say about that. It's got some pulse laser turrets, tactical laser turrets, very nice. Gold Keeper Sea-Wiz turrets to fight incoming projectiles, and these airborne lasers to potentially assist there. Has a penchant for diving toward the surface of the moon. Not sure why, but, you know, it definitely wins points in the appearance category. So, Suicidal Insanity, thank you for submitting something to the bonus round. Let's go ahead and see what we have left. We've only got a few craft left, so bear with me. So, yes, here we are. This is the skill issue, sent in by Box of Stardust, or I guess in this case, Box of Skill issue. It is easily the single largest vessel that we have, being that it is just shy of the dimensions in literally every single dimension. It is almost as big as the VAB, and definitely does not fit at all into your standard hangar. It is equipped with Abrams turrets, laser cannons, and other fun things. Likes to spin around a lot and not really go in a straight line, but you know what? It makes a great target for anything that can fly correctly. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. Also, well, I'm sure you'll see once it starts spinning. Either way, let's move on. So this here is the Waffle Cone, surprisingly enough, sent in by Waffle. Very children of a dead Earth, or so I am told. It's got a very long, tubular, cone-like body to try to give it a small silhouette and also bounce projectiles. In testing, this thing has not performed particularly well, but it sure does look nice. In fact, it will probably perform better in the second version of this bonus round, coming after a couple more normal episodes. But for now, you don't have to worry about that. Just worry about the tasty deliciousness that is the appearance of the Waffle Cone. Looking very cool, those turrets and everything. I just hope it's able to perform with it. And last but not least, we have the Vittlesmark, version 2, sent in by Maximus Light. Also probably the only other main contender in this match. It has had exceedingly large amounts of testing and development put into it. I would be surprised if this thing does not give us a good fight in some way. It has both types of massive torpedoes that they are allowed to use. A ballista, which is obviously a kinetic torpedo, and the arbalest, which is a standard explosive torpedo. Both are quite powerful. We also have all the HEKVs, big turrets, laser turrets, Millennium cannons, airborne lasers. This thing is designed very, very much as a close-range brawler. In fact, I don't even think its weapons will fire until it gets within 10 to 15 kilometers of the enemy. So we're gonna have to be doing a lot of waiting, which is actually, you guys don't have to do a lot of waiting. I have to do a lot of waiting and then change it in editing. Aren't you guys lucky? Either way, that is all of our contenders for this particular episode. That being said, let's go ahead and get back up to the isolation experiment and see which one of these craft will fly away into the final frontier as the victor. So here we are at the beginning of what is going to be round 1. We have the Abaddon versus the Arkbird. Let's go ahead and start that competition, and start it right now, because I'm not waiting for them to get back into place. So, well, without any further ado, let's click on one of these. I think I'll click on the Arkbird. And we won't be able to use much in the way of fighter mode, so we're going to be using, well, manual mode, as it were, which surprisingly enough should be fine. Interesting. We now have HEKVs being launched from the Arkbird. As it continues to move in, there they go. Oh, it appears that I clicked on one of those. Oh, we can actually follow them in. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Here we go. Abaddon already moving to intercept those and doing quite well. Arkbird still coming in. It had considerable work done in order to try to fix that. Well, look at that. Very quickly, the Abaddon absolutely annihilates the Arkbird, meaning the Abaddon will be moving on. Very nice. And not just because it's basically one of my designs. I might be a little bit biased as far as appearances. It just looks so cool. Okay, enough from me. Let's get into round 2. So here we are at the start of round 2. We have the JS1B Langan versus the Whale King. So let's go ahead and start that competition out there in the sky, and start that competition now. Good luck. Actually, very interested to see how this pulls through. Langit looks like it's going to be having missiles coming in first. We've got the ballista torpedoes coming in from the far side over there. You can hear those pulse lasers coming in. Let's go ahead and switch. It is managing to fire. We have these long-range things coming, well, we have the HEKVs, which are basically space missiles. Ooh, there go those railguns. No hits yet, but they are firing at each other and those HEKVs. Ballista torpedo. Oh! That was very, very close. Ballista almost hitting that, almost hitting the ship there. Very dangerous. Meanwhile, those are getting close, so let's go ahead and switch back to this. Well, maybe not quite. Surprisingly enough, Whale King actually doing a fairly decent job at maneuvering. Both are very slowly falling toward the surface of the moon, so, it is entirely... Oh! Langit getting hit by an HEKV. One of the smaller ones, actually. Wouldn't be surprised if that didn't actually do that much damage. Although it could have done surface level damage. It looks like an HEKV is actually stuck on the bridge, or on the deck of the ship there. It is firing more, so it is entirely possible that it might potentially be let go at some point. It is very, very slowly firing those HEKVs. Honestly, I am so happy that this is not absolutely scum. Not gonna lie. Whale King just kind of moving nice and slow. It does have RCS, but it's not actually using it too much. It's kind of drifting at the moment. HEKV coming in. TLS pods. Okay, it is actually going to open up with its... Oh, there we go. Those point defense lasers. HEKV's out and about. Once again, being fired. I believe it only has 1 missile per target. 6 missiles per target, apparently. Might not actually have that many. There we saw some railguns from the Langit trying to shoot down that HEKV missile. Ooh, interception by those missiles. Very interesting. Langit is still continuing to fall very quickly toward the surface of the moon there. HEKV's getting close to the Whale King, but they are, looks... Oh, Whale King getting struck by an HEKV. Oh, we've lost significant parts on the Whale King. Lots of those turrets and some of its fins. Not the greatest thing to have happen to something like that. How's it looking as far as resources? Oh! More strikes. I'm imagining this probably from those railguns. You can see them firing. Whoa! Just barely managing to miss. The railguns are purposefully not pinpoint accurate just to make this more interesting. Oh! Meanwhile, no problem there. Punches through. Manages to... Oh, that is not good. Manages to blast off one of the engines. And another shot. Langit now just opening up on the whale. We literally have a ship fighting a whale. It's like Moby Dick. Except the ship is white instead of the whale. Whatever, that, you know, that's fine. We can live with that. Let's see, Whale King looking pretty dead in the water to some degree here. It is moving very slowly with those engines. It's still actually... It still has its throttle at full. Those engines should be burning. What's the matter? Flame out? Oxidizer deprived. It's out of fuel. It is out of fuel. It does have guns, but it has no means to generate electricity, at least not in a significant way, and it has no fuel, which means it's basically doomed to fall toward the surface of the moon until it crashes. Under normal circumstances, I would be happy to let these two craft fight if it was, you know, a normal fight. It is, however, not a normal fight. And I don't want to sit here for, 20 minutes while this very slowly makes its way toward the surface and crashes. So, that being said, I'm going to call it. Goodbye, Langit. I'm going to call it in favor of the Whale King. Whale King will be moving on. Congratulations, Spectrum. So here we are at the start of what is round 3. We can see that we have the Sajuk class Corvette versus the Waffle Cone, two craft of roughly equivalent size. Let's go ahead and get those into position for that competition and start that competition now, so they will go ahead and start firing at each other. Good luck to both of our competitors. Let's go ahead and switch to the Corvette, as it is the one that is currently firing weapons. Once again, diving toward the surface of the planet for some inconceivable reason. Not sure why it does that, but it is consistent in that behavior. Suicidal Insanity is basically one of the main people behind the space performance, as it were. The main man behind some of this. Now, it has turned off its engines, but it is continuing to accelerate as it falls toward the ground, which is not great. Waffle Cone, under fire, using those Vulcan turrets and everything else, point defense turrets, to try to intercept those missiles. Not great! It is managing to destroy maybe a few, but not many. Ooh, that is gonna hurt. Much pain there for our Waffle Cone. Not looking great. It has exposed the, well, internal armor structuring there as it tries to maneuver. Another problem that the Sajuk class has is its HEKVs tend to get stuck in the middle of that. Those holsters as it were. Guns trying to get on target, unable to do so. Waffle Cone continuing to get hammered, but it's still alive. It's not dead. Waffle Cone, well, more or less just sitting and waiting to get blasted, unfortunately. It is trying to intercept those, but it's not doing a great job. Those turrets cannot get on target quickly enough. That is not good. It looks like it blew up a fuel tank. Waffle Cone is now effectively dead in space. Well, the Sajuk is now closing in. Well, that's not great. I mean, it's not great for the Waffle Cone. It's fantastic for the Sajuk Sajuk, perhaps? I don't know quite how to say that. Either way, Waffle Cone ain't looking so hot. But it is in hot water. HEKVs whizzing by. Maybe trying to turn around, but not able to really do so. Basically dead in space. Not fantastic, that's for sure. Waffle Cone is also very quickly heading toward the surface over there. You know, Sajuk seems to be having some sort of heat problem with something internal. Not sure what that could be. That is a very nice looking spaceship. Gotta say. Very nice looking indeed. Regardless of its inspiration or whatever, it still looks quite cool. Kinda sad I didn't get close enough to use these Hydra turrets, but you know, hey, who knows? Maybe it will next time. Uh-oh, Sajuk is actually much closer to the surface than its compatriot there. It's not yet within the position where it's going to try gaining altitude. Does it have, I don't know how much, still got monopropellant, but not for much longer. Definitely not a lot of that. Plenty of fuel, though. Although with the rate of descent, it'll probably run out of monopropellant before it has a chance to get in here, which would be very bad. That basically means it'll probably smash into the surface here. At this point, I would really like to, well, this is basically dead in space. It has no means to control itself. It's 100% dead in space. This is getting close, however. It is trying to point at its target. It's going to run out of monopropellant any second. which it's not great. I really should probably call this, but you know, I'm just gonna let it go for a teeny bit longer. See how this does. Alright, it is now out of monopropellant. Not fantastic. Just calling by the fact that it is continuing to point upwards, basically. Point at its target as best as it can. I'm really tempted to just say that this one's probably going to win. It's still very close to the ground, but it has enough fuel to potentially pull out. Its minimum altitude is 10 kilometers, so it should pull out. I am willing to let it sit and wait to see how it behaves. Ooh, we've got the pulse laser weapons opening up now! It's now within enough distance to start doing that. Oh yeah, Waffle Cone, definitely gonna be having a bad day here. Of course, I don't think the Sajuk has enough maneuverability to actually turn on target. It is very, very slowly turning on target, probably using some sort of internal, like an SAS module or something to try to turn on target, which makes it very unstable. It is actually climbing. For some reason, it keeps selecting those HEKVs. It seems to really want to fire those HEKVs. It says it has 4 of them remaining. Not sure. Okay, there are some in those rotary racks. Doesn't look like it actually wants to rotate to fire them. That's not great. Not great at all. As long as it's stuck on those HEKVs, I might be able to try to do it a favor. But we might as well try and save this, right? So, let's see. Turn off. No, we don't want that. Turn off guard mode. Select those. Turn on that. Turn on ripple. And then just fire the missiles, please. It refuses to fire the missiles. Apparently, it's had a problem with the mounting there, particularly with this pod. Not great. Well, I tried. There you go. I tried. I really did try. That being said, pretty sure the Waffle Cone is 100% doomed. So, without waiting any more time, I am going to say that the Sajuk is the winner here. 100%. So, goodbye, Waffle Cone. That being said, the Sajuk will be moving on to the next set of fights. So here we are for round 4. You can see we have the skill issue versus the Vittlesmark. Let's go ahead and get these two craft fighting. At least, hopefully. It's gonna take a while for them to get into position. But, crossing our fingers. At the very least, I can cut out the really bad stuff. Not a whole lot to say. Like I said, these craft are gonna take a long time to get into firing range. There it goes. Activating, launching those missiles. It is probably going to unload all of those HEKVs at the same time, including the torpedoes. You can see it is firing them in rapid succession. And they are now moving toward the target. Hopefully it doesn't hit itself with its own HEKVs. That would be very embarrassing. Skill issue is also now reacting, firing its own HEKVs. Those HEKVs, as it turns out, are designed specifically to target incoming enemy projectiles. So we should be seeing some, well... Ooh! Arc light firing! Actually scoring a hit! Is now fully on its projectile weapons. Skill issue is doing its damnedest to intercept those missiles, but it is not able to intercept all of them. Uh-oh! Oh! Oh no! The Kraken! Oh! Apparently something very important on the skill issue. Apparently something very important on the skill issue got blapped. I have no idea what it was. But look at that. There's the lander can. That was the main thing. Oh no. The main bulk, however, is still there. Doesn't actually count as a craft. It is very cool to see those things firing, though. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to watch it fire. And there's the frame rate loss that we've all come to expect from all of these guns hitting the target at the same time. In this case, it looks like resistance was not futile. The Vittlesmark will be moving on. So here we are at the start of basically the semi-finals. We have the Abaddon versus the Whale King. Let's go ahead and start that competition. And start that comp now, just to make sure that they get in and close each other. I know it's actually probably a little farther than it would have been, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. After all, it'll give them time to fly at each other. Oh, all right. Whale King actually firing its stuff first. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that thing. Firing those HEKVs and ballistas at the Abaddon at maximum range. Here come those ballista torpedoes. Oh, that was close. Oh! Phew! Those ballistas potentially would have shredded. Oh! Taking evasive action, it says. He's continuing to fire. It's firing at something behind it. Not sure what, though. Oh, HEKV collisions from the Whale King. What is it firing at? I wish I knew. I don't know why all the guns are facing backwards. That's not great. Let's see, did it actually... Oh, that's why! Not great! Seems like a single shot there actually managed to blow the laser anti-missile system off of the front. That's not great. Railguns firing now from the Whale King. They are definitely within death range now. Everything now opening up. Millennium turrets. Cannons. Hasn't opened up with the lasers yet, although it's possible the lasers got blown off. Whale King now getting smacked by lots of equipment. There we go. They are going to fly by one another. Oh my god, that sounds so cool! Abaddon doing its best. It is on fire. That chip damage. Abaddon's still managing to spin. It is very low on monopropellant. Not great. that shot! Ooh! Abaddon, despite being wounded, is not out. Not yet. The Whale King is very quickly starting to lose weapons mounted on the outside. There goes one of its engines. Not great. It is actually out of monopropellant. It has no way to continue to maneuver itself. How's the Abaddon doing? It's lost a large amount of its weapons, but it's still continuing to fire. Still got a few. It's got Abrams turrets on the rear. It is actually out of monopropellant now, however. Means, it's possible these are just going to spin their way into the ground. Both of these craft now out of monopropellant. They're just gonna sit here and blow the crap out of each other until one of them wins. Oh, turning its tail toward the enemy. Quite literally, its tail toward the enemy because it's a whale. Bits and pieces still falling off. That is so cool, man. Come on. Whale kind of looks a little sad now. Man, there is no doubt in my mind that the whale here is doing an exceedingly good job at just tanking damage to the face. Getting within a kilometer now. This is the closest anything has been to one another. Actually hitting with the shells itself. How's the, loses something, pretty important there, it looks like. Oh, now that it's not just hitting with the basic flak, it is shredding through this. I think it's pretty safe to say that, the Abaddon, oh, critical hit. There's what's left. Oh! Oh my god. Holy crap, what a fight. Okay, gotta admit, pretty damn cool. Nothing to be ashamed about there, Spectrum, by any means. That was a fantastic fight. The Abaddon will be moving on. Holy crap. Here we are for the second round of the semifinals. We have Sajuk Rin Corvette versus the Vittlesmark. Pretty sure I know how this is gonna go. But you never quite know. Maybe it'll hit something critical. No telling what could happen. So in the distance we can see the Vittlesmark going on a shooting spree. Opening up with everything. Including the railguns in the front. Uh-oh, Ichikivi getting close. Oh, never mind. Gets blapped by the... Gets blapped. Alright then. Pretty sure I know how this is gonna go down, though. The Sajuk Rin is, well, it can do close range, but as soon as the Vittlesmark starts firing all of those projectiles, I don't think it's going to be able to defend itself exceedingly well. Could be wrong, but we will see. Hopefully those HEKVs won't detonate inside the bays. That would be catastrophic, in a word. Would be very bad. Alright, should soon be getting within firing range. There we go! At last! Climbing there into the sun and Kerbin up there. Hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see it on YouTube. I can see it here. Of course, the Sajuk Rin is actually out of monopropellant up here. Not great. Vittlesmark is actually engaging with its weaponry. At last. It's within 15 kilometers at like a 40-kilometer start. Those ballista torpedoes are now out and ready, along with those arbalest torpedoes. I wouldn't be surprised if the arbalest is the thing that ends up killing them. Point defense turrets, hard to tell if they're actually firing or not. They are probably not within range. Now it appears they're actually firing. It is actually managing to defend itself against the onslaught, but it isn't going to be able to take out the arbalest torpedoes. Those could potentially one-shot. Almost everything is overheated. That's not great. One arbalest down. Second arbalest. No! Doing a massive amount of damage. Parts going everywhere. Not great. Not sure what all those are. Maybe debris? Or it could be missiles that missed. Not sure. Can't say it for sure. Ballista does appear to have missed, going well over the surface. Vittlesmark now turning to try to get back on target. Well, it seems we're finally getting into weapons range again, which is good. Oh, there's those airborne lasers. Everything opening up now. Both craft are actually taking damage. However, the Sajuk Rin looks like it's taking a little bit more. That laser turret eating into those armor panels, or at least trying to. Outer armor panels taking a lot of damage, managed to blow the engine off, which is going to go off into space. At this point, I think I'm going to turn off infinite propellant. I don't know if that's going to help much anymore, to be honest. Gotta say, this little thing can take a freaking beating! That laser turret is doing its damnedest to break this thing apart. And those laser turrets are not pushovers by any means, right? They are very deadly. Either way, what I'm saying here is effectively, though the Sajuk Rin is effectively a gigantic armored box, it is a gigantic armored box with no ability at all to control itself. It has no engines, as far as I can tell, no monopropellant thrusters, and it's basically just going to fall. Just fall until it hits the ground. And Kraken! And there we go. Wow, I didn't even have to end it. Alright, well, that means the Vittlesmark is going on to the finals. And here we are, the final fight, the Abaddon versus the Vittlesmark. Perhaps the fight we all knew was coming. But either way, it's bound to be good. So without any further ado, let's start that competition and get these things to, well, move toward each other and then blow the crap out of each other. Because that's just how this is gonna go. Especially since one has no long-range weaponry to speak of, and the other one has saved all of its weaponry for a close-in alpha strike. So, I guess I will see you all when the fun stuff starts happening. And there we go! Vittlesmark has begun firing those missiles. The alpha strike, as it were. Let's go ahead and slip on over here. We can watch it fire. That's actually pretty cool watching them launch like that. Look at that. Fires them out about as far away as they can before unloading. Pretty cool. Abaddon is now firing. HEKVs. This could be bad. Oh! Those torpedoes are going to be the worst. HEKVs. Oh, God! Can't say I didn't see something like that coming. Oh. It does, however, still have weapons, so, you know. That Alpha Strike really did its job. Firing all of those weapons at the same time oversaturated the defenses of the Abaddon. Abaddon looking not so hot. I don't even know if it has any weapons. It's got ammo, but it doesn't look like it has any weapons left. There are a couple weapons, actually, but, that's not great. And once again, it looks like Maximus Light is gonna kill the Damocles. I mean, the Abaddon. Let's look at the Abaddon. Yeah, it's, no, it's good. It's gone. It is definitely gone. Well, final fight was much more decisive than I was anticipating, but either way, a win is a win. There's no way to control itself. And not a whole lot left. Abaddon damaged by Vittlesmark and lost weapons. Nothing left but the cockpit. And it's down. Well. There it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your winner of Space-Battleship Showdown is none other than Maximus Light and the Vittlesmark. Version 2. I hope you are willing to stay tuned for the next normal episodes of FJRT, as well as the bonus round coming to you next time, which will be Space Fighter Showdown, or Smaller Ship Showdown. Should be more entertaining, a little less slow and more crazy. Plus, we can probably get some 2v2s going, which will be pretty nice. So, either way, until next time, everybody, I have been Kaz. Happy building, and happy blasting. And when you know it, it still managed to actually blow a hole through the damn thing. Skill issue, indeed.